Hello guys and welcome. So in this video I'm going to answer the question, what is Final Fantasy 15? This video is aimed at people who know nothing about Final Fantasy 15, have always been curious and want to know a little bit more. And I'm also going to be talking about the other games, other things as part of the Final Fantasy 15 universe, and a brief mention of the history of this game, because there's a lot of history for Final Fantasy 15. So this game originally came out in 2016 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but the journey for it to be released was very, very, very long. So originally, it was actually announced as Final Fantasy Versus 13. So very, very long time ago. It was going to be like a side game to the Final Fantasy 13 universe. Final Fantasy 13 came out a very, very long time ago. I might make a long a different what is series for the Final Fantasy 13 universe. And but after a while, the project sort of fell into what they call development hell, and it was sort of lost, but it wasn't forgotten. And then Square Enix, who developed and published the game, decided to revitalize Final Fantasy Versus 13 and renamed it and relabeled it to Final Fantasy 15 to make it its own entry in the Final Fantasy series. Now, there was a lot of controversy around this game as well, just because um, of that. Like, it's never happened before. A Final Fantasy game has never been relabeled, it's never been lost like that, but it happens. That's life, I guess. Now, 15 came out to mass and critical praise. So until now, it sold like I think 9 million copies or something. So it's done incredibly well. So Square Enix did the right thing by really trying their best to revitalize this game and because I think they know full well that what Final Fantasy means to the fans. And also, as well, though, they are trying to push the boundaries. So, just as they revitalized Final Fantasy 14, they also revitalized Final Fantasy 15. Now, as you can see in this trailer, it's a hack and slash action role playing game, and you can use magic. But the general story of the game is that you're following the journey of Noctis, Prince Noctis, on his way to meet his in future wife, his betrothed Luna Freya, and along the way, he is joined by his companions. So he has three companions: his Gladius, Ignis, and Prompto. So the four of them are traveling together. They are set as his protectors, essentially. But while he's on the journey, then his kingdom is invaded. Now, the way that they expanded the story even further is they did, before Final Fantasy 15 came out, they released a movie, so which the trailer will play later on, called Kingsglaive, which covers the events of before the game. And also they released a anime series called The Brotherhood, which explores the early years of each of the companions, which I will link in the description below. And as well, they've released apps, they've released books, they've released DLC to expand the universe to look at each of the characters a bit more. So there was a Gladio DLC, an Ignis DLC, a Prompto DLC, and even an Arden DLC. Arden being actually the bad guy. So and there was plans originally for there to be a Luna Freya DLC as well as potentially an alternate ending, but I guess after a while they decided to just cancel that and just make it into a book instead. So yeah. Now, I personally, I absolutely loved Final Fantasy 15 when it came out. I remember playing it. I was streaming it like 12 to 15 hours a day. It was pretty much the most successful game on my entire YouTube channel. So obviously I had to mention it. Also as well, it's just very fun to explore. So the game is actually open world. So when you're exploring the different regions of the game, you can choose to do hunts, you can choose to do quests in mostly in nearly any order, but there is a main storyline as well. So obviously when you progress and finish in certain areas, or finish the main story in certain areas, then once you leave, most of the time you don't come back. So when I play these sort of RPGs, I tend to go for 100% completion. Like I will explore every corner, every nook and cranny. I will do every quest possible. I will level up all the side things and so on, just so I make sure that I get the maximum enjoyment out of it. Now, this is a game which is focused on the brotherhood of the four characters. What's really cool as well, when you're traveling around in your car and so on, you can actually play the soundtracks of the different Final Fantasy games, of the previous Final Fantasy games, which is really good for nostalgia reasons. Because I personally have been playing, I started with Final Fantasy VII in the, I think it's like 97, so a long time ago, more than 20 years ago. And it was really great to be able to just listen to the old music while I was exploring the game. Also, as well, during the combat, the characters do really well to work together. So, and you can set up combos between them and so on. Now, the combat wasn't for everyone, but I personally really liked it. Like, I really enjoyed the combat. And what's really interesting as well is that in theory, you can actually level up to nearly max level in the first area if you want, if you spend the time. There's nothing to stop you just leveling up all the way to the max and getting the strongest skills available. Now, here is the trailer for the movie. So this is Kingsglaive. Now, I personally really enjoyed Kingsglaive. I really liked it. So when Final Fantasy type movies come out, or Square Enix makes movies, they tend to go for incredibly realistic graphics and so on. They hired really amazing voice talent to voice the characters behind it as well. And I actually went to the one of the launch events in London. I saw it in on a cinema screen during the launch of Final Fantasy, which was really it was tough for me to do that because I have extreme anxiety, so I've suffered really badly that day. But overall, I felt it was worth it, and the it was so good. Like I really enjoyed it. Like the action is centered around the character that you see on screen called Nyx, who is one of the King's Glaive. The King's Glaive are the king's basically elite bodyguards. So that's why it's called King's Glaive. And it's a really interesting introduction to the story of Final Fantasy 15. But as well, it's something you can actually absorb on its own. It's like you don't have to even play the game to really enjoy the movie because it is just so good. And I can't recommend it enough. You can see Nyx is voiced by Aaron Paul. Lena Headey did Luna Freya. Sean Bean did the king, which is Noctis's dad. So now going more into the Final Fantasy 15 universe, the line of succession of the kingdom is defined by the rings that they wear. But I will say no more than that. So you will have to just play the game to find out more. So there's King's Glaive. Now, the next trailer that I'm going to show is the Brotherhood anime. So, like I said, the anime goes into it gives an introduction into each of the characters, and like so, each episode there's 5 episodes, but one episode is for each of the characters. You know how they grew up, how they met, and so on, and it culminates in a 5th episode where along the journey that they're embarking on. Each episode is about 15-20 minutes long, but they are worth watching. They are so good. Like I said, I will link them in the description below. I really enjoyed them. It's just because it gives more as well context to this story. So I have over the years grown very attached to the characters of this game. It's like it's a great work of fiction. It's really, really well done. I would recommend to get into Final Fantasy 15 if you've not checked it out already. If you're watching this video, then obviously you must have some interest. So if you watched it this far, thank you very much. Okay, so that's basically it, guys. That's all I want to say as an introduction to Final Fantasy 15. Please check out this game series. or well, I say series, but as in this individual games universe as part of the wider Final Fantasy universe. And yeah, I think that's a good time to stop. So anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can watch a random video over there. You can watch the latest upload down there, or you can click down here to subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.